Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 8, and this is going to be my final Armageddon video before the finale for Armageddon, if that makes sense. And this is going to be another of the Q&A videos where I ask you guys in the community tab to leave any questions you have about Armageddon or stuff relating to it going forward in this season of The Flash. And you guys provided. So obviously there's only going to be, I think there's 9 questions or 8 questions here, but it pretty much covers, I'd say, most of what people are asking in the comment section down below, or comment section in that community page, post. So sorry if you didn't get your question answered specifically, but your question should hopefully be answered in general by another person's question, if that makes sense. But as I said in my previous video to this one, I'll just repeat here. I do want to thank everyone for watching the videos throughout this Armageddon event. It's been my second favorite thing I've done on the channel following Crisis, and we all know how big Crisis was and just how long that period went. So for this to come second is, it's pretty special. So thank you to everyone that's watched the videos and enjoyed watching the episodes and, discussing them afterwards, whether it be in the comment section of my videos, while just watching my videos, or through the streams we've done over that period. Just want to thank everyone for that. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on everything that we go over in this Q&A, and what you think, if your opinion differs from mine, because that can always be the case. We all have opinions. That's the beauty of it all. So if you have a different opinion, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below what that is. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and you want to show your support for the channel and just your excitement levels for the finale that's coming up in a couple of days, want to drop a like on the video to do all that. So the first question comes from Daryl Mini Creek. That's one hell of a name. And they ask, do you think the good story writing will carry on for the rest of the season or only for this event? And my general answer to that is, well, if you have this portion that's good, I'd expect the same. I'm not saying like, oh my God, okay, well, I'm not saying this is what I rate them, but let's just say you gave the episodes on average an 8.5. I'm not saying every episode has to be an 8.5, because some episodes are going to have that standard expected, and some are just expected to maybe carry on little plot elements and everything like that. So that's for us to wait and find out. But one of my issues with last season, where I'm sure this is why this question stems from, is the actual story stuff wasn't really the biggest issue. Sure, the execution wasn't great, but the actual story that they set up wasn't that bad. The execution just wasn't where it needed to be to meet the level of what they'd written. My biggest issue was dialogue, and I must say, one of my criticisms of Armageddon so far is this: there has been little pockets of that bad dialogue which ran rampant in season 7. Like the dialogue was the worst thing about season 7 and made it really hard to stay connected and be drawn to the show. And I've seen little pockets of it in Armageddon, but it's usually been in stuff not related to the main story, while in season 7 the bad dialogue was within the main story. So let's just hope they try and avoid that to the most part. Dialogue is actually some of the easier stuff to do outside of story, so fingers crossed for the rest of this season. Malay Thakar, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, asks, do you think anything will come from Ryan Choi and Ray Palmer's appearances in the crossover? I feel like it would be perfect to make a setup for a pilot for a show where Ray goes missing in the microverse and Ryan goes after him. I'd love to see them meet again. I was sort of I definitely wasn't expecting. I was hoping that they would meet again in this crossover, because you have two characters that hold the Atom mantle, and that were the Atom, one in the present day and one in an alternate future. So I would have loved for them to interact. And we don't know. Maybe there's a surprise scene in the finale that they filmed beforehand where they discussed. But we got them in Crisis together, so it's not like we've been robbed of it completely, because we already had it previously. But I don't think a show would work. I don't know if they'd actually do an Atom show, but I'd love to see some sort of storyline in a show where Ray goes missing, or it's a part of a crossover for an episode or something like that, where Ray goes missing and Ryan specifically, or Ryan and someone else, go into the microverse to find Ray. I think that'd be really cool. I'd just love to see them on screen again, because it was cool having them in Crisis together. Was hoping for it in Armageddon. Doesn't look like we're gonna get it, but hopefully we get it sometime in the future. The next question comes from Reaper, and they ask, as we see the villains rise from the ashes of Armageddon, could that be hinting to Zoom's return, as we never saw what happened to him post-Crisis and he might not be dead? This is actually a very interesting and cool thing for you to add, because no one's really discussed it. Even me, I haven't really thought of it that way. where obviously you think of the ashes of Armageddon, where, you know, the end of Armageddon, maybe the changes in the timeline give birth to new villains. But when you think ashes, you think, you know, rising from the dead, potentially like a phoenix, or being reborn. So it could be a past villain that we've seen, or it could be a past character that then becomes a villain. So then you're thinking your Ronnie Raymonds, your Eddie Thawnes, everything like that. But I did mention, like, I think it was in 2 videos ago or something, I think we covered like a Red Death video, and I mentioned Hunter Zolom on there because Eric Wallace has talked about wanting to bring that character back because he never really got to play with that character. Well, he hasn't, sorry. He hasn't been able to play with that character as the showrunner. He was on the show during season 5 when Zoom comes back for the 100th episode, but he wasn't showrunner. So here he could actually create a story if he wanted to use Zoom in an episode or an actual story arc. So I think it'd be cool. I mean, the thing with Zoom is that he was multiversal, and we know that this whole timeline that's played out now happened without the multiverse being there. So they actually have, like, even on the whiteboard after Crisis, they didn't say that Zoom came from Earth 2. They said, like, Zoom's army just came from, like, a random portal. So it'd be cool if they, you know, added to that, and maybe he didn't die and didn't become Black Flash and everything like that. But I don't know. Maybe they have plans for it. We'll have to wait and see. Vlada asks, do you think we'll see Matt Letcher as Eobard Thawne again? I would love to see him one more time, even though, in my opinion, Tom is doing an amazing job as always. I've explained this, and this isn't like, this isn't me giving a lecture to give Vlada. I've just sort of recap my thoughts. I've explained this to people that have asked me, whether it's on Twitter, I think even some live streams and stuff like that, or through other means on social media. The way that the show is set up Eobard Thawne now, so the present or the current Eobard Thawne, it makes sense. It actually makes no sense for it to be Matt Ledger. It has to be Tom Cavanagh at the moment. However, if, you know, we have this finale upcoming, if, say, this Reverse Flash that Tom Cavanagh is playing is killed or taken away by Black Flash, or some other means is defeated and really can't carry on like that version, then Matt Ledger, the door is open for him to come back. Like, there's actually not really too much of an excuse to not bring him back unless he's busy. Now, I've said this previously, that I'd heard that he was busy during season 5 when they wanted to bring him back. So that's why they used Tom Cavanagh, and that's why they carried on the storyline and wrote it in a certain way to make sure that Tom was the one playing Reverse Flash, and it was that version, like the Welzabard. However, if this version of Reverse Flash that Tom's playing is defeated in this upcoming week's episode and is, to an extent or to a degree, killed off, then the door is open for Matt Ledger to come back. We know he was in Vancouver, and he's not signed to a show that should have been filming in Vancouver, so why was he there? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. That whole period with him in Vancouver had a lot of people curious. Next up, with a really curious name, not too sure about this one, Wario dies in a car accident. Very odd name. They ask, but they not criticizing, just definitely one of the more random and odd names I've seen. Hey Pagey, do you prefer the old Reverse Flash suit or the new suit on Tom? I was actually extremely shocked to see so much negativity around the new Reverse Flash suit on Tom. I think he looks awesome in it. The only issue I have is the cowl. The cowl could be a bit more form-fitting and fit him a bit better. And that was the same with him in the Flash suit as well. That's my only real gripe on it. I think he looks really, really cool in the Reverse Flash suit. So I was really surprised when there was so much negativity and people saying that he looks like bad in it or crap in it. I was like, really? You know, I thought it looked like, it sort of surprised me. Like, I didn't realize people didn't like it until like a day or two after, and I just saw like a picture I posted on Twitter and the replies and stuff like that. It sort of threw me for a loop because I didn't think that was the response to it. So I must be in the minority that think he looks cool in it outside of the cowl. That's the only thing I think needs some working on. And I think he probably wore the cowl that was made for Grant. And by cowl, I mean like the mask, like the headpiece, for those that don't know. So yeah, I prefer the new one. I think the new one looks updated. The old one was, as you would think, old. It was a bit outdated. So yeah, I much prefer the new suit. I think it looks awesome. Taran Saxena, hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Do you think pushing the Flash to Wednesday and indirectly pushing it to second main show on the CW was a good idea? Flash is too good to be pushed like that, in my opinion. So if you don't know, Flash is moving to Wednesday nights from Tuesday nights. So that's the context for that question. And I don't think it actually means much. I think people are sort of, and once again, this isn't directed at you, Taran, just in general. People are taking this like way too seriously because it's very important to remember, like people wouldn't know this. Wednesday was always the CW's biggest night. Like that's why Arrow, if you don't, like Arrow was on Wednesday because Arrow was their big show they're bringing in. They knew it was going to be probably the most viewed show, which it was until Flash came around. And it was on a Wednesday because Wednesday was their big night. And why is Tuesday big? Why is Tuesday seen as this big night for the CW now? It's because that's where the Flash was. Flash got put on Tuesday because Arrow was on Wednesday, and Flash made Tuesday popular. So the logic with that is that it shouldn't really matter which Flash is going to be if it's on Wednesday because it'll still be popular. Like the Flash is the most popular show the CW makes. Like Superman Lois is very good, but it's actually nowhere near as popular as Flash. So as long as it wasn't pushed to like a Friday or like a Sunday or any day like that, it's fine because Wednesday was always the biggest night anyway. So I think people were like going a bit too big with like, oh my, like panicking, but it actually doesn't really mean anything. It's moved there because they need to move there to fit the other shows in because Flash is going on that break and they need to finish shows like Batwoman and Legends, and then also Superman and Naomi need to premiere to get out in time. So it's just a fact of so much content, little time, and it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if Flash goes back to Tuesday night for next season. So I don't think there's too much reason to panic there. Next up, Panax07 asked, what comic event, not Cobra Blue or Red Death related, would you like to see adapted next? In regards to a comic event, I don't really have one specifically. Mainly because like the ones, like the main ones they've used have sort of done. You could argue like a Flash War sort of thing, but I don't know, that might be a bit too much to go down if they wanted to do that. But then again, they've already done the Death of the Speed Force stuff, so maybe they could go down that route if they wanted to. One thing I'd love to see, which was sort of teased in Armageddon, is like a Legion of Doom. I know we got it in Legends, but I'd love to see like a Legion of Doom crossover event where you have, or like a Crisis on Two Earths, like that animated movie and stuff like that. I'd love to see that, and you can get like various other characters cameo, not even cameo, but just guest star as alternate versions. So you could have someone come in who voiced, like Michael Rosenbaum could play the Flash, like Johnny Quick on that Earth and other things like that. I think that'd be really, really cool to see. Like that would probably be my top one, like either a Crisis on Two Earths thing or like a Legion of Doom thing. That'd be like my top 1 and 2. And finally, Chase Ferguson asked, what are the odds an old cast member like Wally or Cisco will show up this season? I'd say the odds aren't extremely low. I'd say they're probably somewhere in the middle, just because there's no quarantine now. Like the pandemic, there's no like quarantine thing like there was last season, which we know ruled out Wally West. Wally West was going to be in last season, but because of the 2-week quarantine thing, it wasn't worth it. He would have had to quarantine for 2 weeks to be in one episode. It wasn't worth it in his opinion, the show's opinion, everyone's opinion. Would have been like, it wouldn't have made sense for that to happen. So it wouldn't shock me too much if Wally showed up later this season, especially considering what storyline they do as well. That'd be fairly cool. Cisco is always up there because I'm sure Cisco wouldn't mind visiting. So it wouldn't be a shock if Cisco showed up as well. So I think both of those are actually a solid option to come back this season at some point. In regards to like another old cast member, like, well, there's not many, is there? Like Wally and Cisco are really the only ones that were on Team Flash that have left, like if you don't count Ralph Dibny. So I think the odds of those two specifically, Wally and Cisco, coming back this season are somewhere in the middle, if not more towards actual, like a likelihood of that happening. But I guess that's for us to wait and find out. But yeah, that's it. That's it for this Q&A. I might do another one after, like next week this time, depending on what happens at the end of Armageddon and whether it's actually worth it. And if you guys are enjoying it, I might do it after every episode. Or like episodes where it's worth it. You know what I mean? So we'll wait and see. That's for the future me and the future you to worry about. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions and everything we went over. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.